Welcome to Chris Cook for YouTube. Today I'm going to do something that I normally do not do online, because whenever you're baking items, you have to follow the instructions. They have to be followed to the letter. And this is, a lot of times I find, with people, they may deviate in one place or another, and it'll cause their baked items not to come out right. And when you do that, they may say, well, I followed your recipe, but it didn't come out like you told me it would. When it comes to baking, the only thing about that is you have to follow along as closely as you can with the ingredients that I use. Now, I'm not saying that everybody knows that I like Domino sugar. I'm not saying that you have to use Domino sugar, but if I tell you 3 cups, use 3 cups, not 3.5 cups, because you think that this cake might not be sweet enough and you want to make yours just a little bit sweeter. No, that will cause you to have a crusty cake or have problems with your cake. So I'm going to show you the items that we're going to need, and I'm going to walk you through every step of this. And for those of you who are trying it, this is a fantastic recipe. This is the base for a lot of cakes that I bake in my home. This can be your base as well, but it's just good to follow along as closely as you possibly can. Now, the items that we're going to need today is going to be 3 cups of sugar, 3 sticks of butter, and this butter I have allowed it to sit out overnight just so it can be room temperature or a little bit softer. And everybody knows that I use Land of Lakes butter, and really my choice for baking, that's what it is. If you have one that you really like, go ahead and use it. This is the salted type of butter because that eliminates me having to put salt into the cake. So this is 3 sticks of salted butter, 3 cups of sugar, 6 eggs, and it's better if your eggs are room temperature. If you can get them room temperature, just take them out of your refrigerator, get them down to room temperature, and then go ahead and use them. Here I have vanilla and I have lemon flavor, so it'll be a tablespoon of vanilla flavor and a teaspoon of lemon flavor. I use Swan's Down cake flour. This is the only place I will say that you can deviate. If you want to sift your flour 3 times, which that's what you use in order to, if it's a regular flour, that's what you would use in order to get it like cake flour. You would sift it 3 times before you use it. So I'm going to use 3 cups of my Swan's Down cake flour. Don't have to sift that at all. And I'm going to use 3/4 cup of Sprite. Now you can use Sprite or Sprite or 7-Up. It doesn't matter which one. It's still going to be labeled a 7-Up cake. Now today I'm going to deviate and do something that I really normally don't do, because I normally just take my bundt pan and I grease and flour my bundt pan. But I'm going to try out this product. This is a Pam baking spray, and it has the flour already in it. So I'm going to try out this you don't have to do. Just make certain that you grease and butter your grease and flour your baking pan, whichever pan you're going to use, whether it be regular cake pans or it be a bundt pan, and you should be fine. Now, this is the only ingredients that you're going to need for this cake. You don't need milk. We don't need baking powder. We don't need any of that. We're going to mix together these. I'm going to show you how to mix together these ingredients. We're going to bake this in the oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes at 325 degrees. And when it comes out, we should have the perfect 7-Up cake. So I'm going to go away and get myself prepared, to get started. And I'll meet you at my mixer. Okay, now I'm at the blender, and I've already added my 3 sticks of butter, to which I'm going to start my blender. And then I'm going to add my sugar a little at a time. The trick to making a very good cake is being able to blend well your butter, your sugar, and then your eggs. And that's the steps. You do butter, then you do sugar and blend it well, and then you do your eggs one at a time. Okay? So I'm just going to blend this sugar in until I get it all completely blended in. And if you follow along with the instructions that I'm giving you, your cake should come out just like my cake is going to come out. So I'm just slowly adding my sugar, and I have my mixer set on low. Now I'm going to add the last of my sugar. Okay. Now, once that blends up, and you don't want to over blend your cake, so you allow that to blend maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes. That should complete the whole process. Because if you over blend your cake, then your cake is going to fall no matter what. Now I'm going to add these eggs one at a time, because if you look, it looks like that's well blended together. So I'm going to add my eggs. Now, you may ask, why did she crack the eggs in the bowl? The reason for that is because if I take an egg and I crack it over inside of the cake, if that egg is rotten or it's no good, I have messed up all of the ingredients that are in my cake batter. So you don't want to do that. So you want to crack them in a bowl first, and then take them and add them one at a time to your cake batter. Now, why am I adding it one at a time? I want each egg to be blended well, and I don't want my cake to be eggy. So if I add them all at once, it's a strong possibility that I'll get an eggy cake, and I don't want that. So I want to add it just a little bit at a time, one at a time. So I'll complete this, adding one at a time until I get all 6 of the eggs well blended into the cake batter. So remember, that was that was butter. Then to the butter, I added all of my sugar, and then to the sugar, now I am adding all of my eggs. Now, this is the only thing I've told you guys before. This is the only thing that I picked up from one of my aunts. And when I first started my family, my funds were very, very low. And I took this particular cake, and I must have sold maybe a good, I don't know, $20,000 worth of cake at selling the bundt cakes at $12 a piece. And that was way back in the day, so now you can't even get a homemade cake for $12. But I did that, and that was how we got our extra money. I would bake cakes. So this is the base for a lot of cakes that I will probably show you. This is a superb batter when you're making your pineapple upside down cake, when you're making your caramel cakes. This is the perfect batter to use. Now I'm going to stop my blender, and I'm going to elevate it, and I'm going to take my spatula, and I'm going to run that spatula around the cake sides and around the bottom, just so that I can get all of the batter that's down in there. I want everything to be well blended. So now I'll start the blender back. And I'll add next. Now that I have my butter and my sugar blended, and I've added my eggs one at a time, and they're well blended, now I'm going to start to add my cake flour. And like I told you, you can add regular flour if you want. Just make certain that you take the regular flour, and it's going to be regular flour, not self-rising flour. Regular flour, and you're going to sift that flour 3 times, and then you can use that, and you'll still get a good cake. Because I've done this with cake flour, and I've done it with regular flour, and I still get a great cake. Now, when I finish with this batter, it should have the appearance of whipped cream. That's what it should look like. It should not be runny. It should look just like whipped cream. Now I'm going to continue to add my flour until I have my flour all added. Now, why do we add the flour a little bit at a time? We don't want the cake to be doughy. So you can get your cake eggy by adding your eggs too fast. You can get it doughy by adding your flour too fast. But the trick is, as long as you blend the butter and you blend the sugar together well, you shouldn't have that many problems. You shouldn't have any problems, as a matter of fact, with the rest of the process of putting this cake together. Now I'm going to stay with you through this process because I want you to see how I do it. I'm not going to cut this video. I'm not going to do any of that. I want you to see how I do it so you'll be able to go back and do it the same way as well. I'm getting to the last of my flour. Spill just a little bit on my counter. I'm going to swoop that up and put it in. Now I've added the last of my flour. Now allow that to blend. Now I'm going to add my 3/4 cup of Sprite. And like I told you, you can do Sprite or you can do 7-Up. When I was in Chicago, I would use 7-Up all the time because that was what I made this cake with. But since I've been here in Virginia, seems like the Sprite to me makes the cake a little bit better. So I'm going to add my Sprite to this cake. Now I have my oven already preheating at the 325 degrees. And I told you I'm going to bake my cake off for an hour and 15 minutes. And this cake should come out perfect. Okay, now that I have all of my 7-Up in, I'm going to add the last 2 ingredients, which is going to be my tablespoonful of vanilla, and it's going to be my teaspoon full of lemon. Now this is my preference. You can use any kind of flavoring that you want. Vanilla is the dominant one, so that's really going to give you like a neutral taste with your cakes. And then of course you can add the lemon or pineapple or rum, whatever it is that you want to add. Now I'm going to stop this again, and I'm going to do another stir at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to give it one little slight mix more. And that should do it. Okay, that's about it. Now, that's the appearance of your cake. It should look just like that. It should not be runny or any thicker or anything. Now I'm going to put this pan, like I told you, this is my first time using pan. So I'm not recommending it right now because I'm not sure of what I'm going to get. But I recommend just greasing the pan. Oh, it looks like it's going to be pretty good. So we'll see how it comes out. You can take from me, when this cake comes out, whether or not it's something that you want to use or try. So, but what I'm an old school believer of just putting grease and flour on the pan, and that should do it. Okay, now I'm going to scrape this down. And you notice I have not cut this tape by saying, you know, I'll be right back. I needed to take you all the way through this because I need you to see how I do it. And if you follow these instructions, that's about 10 minutes worth of stirring and mixing together, you should get the same results that I get. I'm just going to take this batter off, the blender mixer off, and now I'm going to add this cake to my cake pan. Twist. Can you twist with that hand, Melody? Can you? I need you to. I'll twist. Don't worry about it. I got it. My daughter is holding the camera, and I wanted her to twist the cake pan, but the bundt pan rather. But I can get it in there. Now, if you look at your cake and it looks like toward the end, it may be cooking just a little bit faster than you wanted it to, then just go ahead and add a little aluminum foil vent over the top so that the top won't brown as fast. Now, once I get all of this batter into the pan, I'm going to do one other thing. Now, all of my cake batter is in my pan, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bounce this cake one time. Why did I do that? Because I want to let out all of the air bubbles that are on the inside of the cake. I don't want to cut my cake and then find holes in it. So I bounced it one time. And you should, sometimes you'll see the air bubbles, they'll just go poof, and they'll come on out. So you bounce it one time, and after you bounce it, you can take any knife, run it around. Now you don't have to bounce it again, but I did, okay? Now that's it. Now I'm going to take this, put it in the oven, bake it for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I'll get back to you and show you what the finished product is. I've stayed with you during the whole mixing process, and if you follow it like I showed you, it should come out just like my cake is going to come out, and I know it's going to come out fantastic. So now, as I place it in the oven, I got a light there. I'll be right back. I'm going to allow this cake to cool for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to take it and turn it over. Now here I have a skewer. I'm going to take the skewer, stick it down in the cake, and bring it up. If there is nothing on the skewer, which it isn't, that means that the cake is done. So I'm going to allow this to sit for about 15 minutes, and then we'll turn it out, see what we got.